Hello, guys and gals. This is Blake Morrow, and you are listening to the daily Roundup webinar. I want to welcome you guys, and it's actually been fairly. I know you're probably looking at the market saying, "Man, it's been active." It was active overnight, but the North American session has actually been pretty quiet. I'm really staring at the S&P for obvious reasons. The S&P is bouncing off what I consider really a key support. This is the 618 retracement. It's a big trend line here. And this bounce that you're seeing in the S&P, I think is going to equate to a bounce in yields and maybe a bounce in the US dollar Japanese yen. Now, the dollar yen, I mean, if you look at the price action since yesterday, I mean, we gapped down below 109 and we've basically hovered around the 108.80 to 109.15 level since yesterday. So there hasn't been a whole lot to do since, in these yen pairs anyway, since Asian trade. Now, the CDC press conference today sounded fairly optimistic, and it seems like it seems like there's been no new cases here in the United States, but it seems like to me that they might have a handle on the coronavirus, which whether it's a vaccine, which there's some tweets going around that there's possible nasal vaccine that blocks the virus, or that there might be a virus, an antivirus in the next month that could get developed. I mean, all that's really good news. And so I think the risk now is that we see a bounce in the equity markets and possibly in the US dollar Japanese yen. Where could that lead us to? Maybe back to 103, or excuse me, 109.30. I think would be quite possible. And what I would also be looking at is if you've seen some of these moves happen in the FX market, especially in the yen pairs. You take like the euro yen that's got beaten down, that might bounce back towards 121, back towards this broken trend line. You look at like the Aussie yen. I mean, we're coming right into really key support here. This is all previous support from back in November. After the gap down, the Aussie yen's been under pressure. We might bounce back here. The Kiwi yen, is near this horizontal support from back here in January. We might bounce as well, at these levels. So that's where I think the opportunity is. If you look at the dollar, how it's acting against like the euro or the cable, there's not a whole lot happening. I mean, the euro has been trading a little heavier. We are at the longer term 618 retracement. There's a lot of support through here. I mean, you look at this whole area between 109 and a quarter to 110. There's a lot of support. I think the majority of the support is going to be down here, below 110. So I think those people that are selling euros are probably getting a little, maybe some of the flow is drying up down here. But remember, we're at a 618 retracement. So I would think that it's logical that we start looking for a bounce soon. But the euro is still trading heavy, and there hasn't been any real indication that the euro is about ready to make the turn. What I'd be looking for, and you can see I have an alarm set up here, right here, is a move back above 110.40. Then from an intraday perspective, we stop making lower lows and we start making lower highs. We start making higher highs. If we break there, that would suggest to me that maybe near term we're about ready to turn back up towards the 110.60, 110.80, something like that. The cable still trading pretty heavy, nothing super exciting, but we are at the 618 retracement, very similar to the euro in that respect. One of the the currencies that I'm paying pretty close attention to this dollar Canadian. This dollar Canadian has rallied back into the previous triangle. And I think the most important thing about the dollar Canadian is it's not selling off. So it's not selling off and we're not really pulling back. And the longer we sit here, the more the risk is tilted to the upside. So watch this dollar Canadian. If it continues to consolidate and hold these gains, we might be due for some, further gains. You guys know, if you've listened to the week ahead video, or me on the face webinar for the last couple of days, this false breakdown right here, I think, is a big risk to the dollar Canadian. I think it's a big risk that we get a reversal back, towards 132, 133, and then quite possibly even further than that. Now, we haven't seen, I mean, the 200-day moving average is coming up, so I think there's a lot of overhead resistance for us to even do that. But I think the risks are building that we do some sort of big reversal here, and perhaps we have to look ahead into the next week and see what Canadian data is going to move the needle, or maybe it is, maybe it's even the Fed later on this week. And I talked about the S&P. Let's talk about gold. Gold's also holding up really well. You can see the pullbacks have been very minor. And this is a big risk for anybody who's short, because I think a lot of traders have been trying to lean on gold recently, and it's just not going down. So if it continues to hold up like this, the risk is just continuing to build that we get an upside move in gold. And so, just be careful with that, especially you're on the short side. Now, typically, a stronger gold means weaker dollar, but we haven't really seen that. We haven't seen that dynamic in the FX market as of late, because gold has been strong no matter what. But if gold starts to plow higher, that might end up catching hold to a weaker US dollar. These correlations are, the correlations come and go, and this correlation could be one of those, because it's such a long-standing one, that it could take hold at any moment. So just keep that in mind if you're out there, trading the FX market and you're watching gold. Just watch this gold. If it starts breaking back above 1600, I think that would be a risk to anybody who is long the US dollar. It might be a little problematic. But other than that, guys, keep an eye on the headlines. Let's hope for some positive news regarding the coronavirus, and maybe that might get the S&P back up towards 3,300. I think 3,300, the breakdown point, is probably this area right here. This would be a logical area to be a seller if you are, if you're one of the people that just say, hey, I want to be short the market. I don't know if I'd really want to be short here. I'd probably be looking to be short closer to 3,300 if I could get it. I'm not saying that we're going to get there. I'm just saying if that was the stance I was taking, that's where I would be looking. All right, and remember, today it was supposed to be this weekend, but today is the last day to sign up for ForexAnalytix to get this pricing. After that, you won't see it till September. So make sure you join our family when you can. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great day, and we'll see you on tomorrow morning's Face webinar. Bye-bye.